Hey, good morning. Hope you're having a great day. You know, everyone wants to change the world. Everyone wants to leave their mark on society and this world that will have a huge impact, that will make a difference. But how do you go about it? That's the big question. You know, in the summer months, I have the honor and the privilege to get a little peek of what matters most. And that's, of course, the children. In camp, I get to see how each child and each individual child's happiness and joy and love is important. It's not just about the big picture, but it's each individual and how we touch them and how we touch her and him in a way that's meaningful, in a way that's positive, in a way that's going to have a positive impact and leave a lasting impact. And that's what we try to do. We have 6 weeks at camp. It's only 30 days. And July 4th is one of them, so it's only 29 days. And each day is valuable and so important. It's interesting because on Sunday we spoke about the 2.5 tribes that came to Moses and told Moses, listen, you know, we're going to get our place on the Transjordan. We're not going to go over. And first Moshe was very worried and he thought that this is a reincarnation of the spies. And he said, how could he make this mistake again? But then Moses realizes that their intentions are all good. And then we read about one of the people. His name was Yair ben Menashe. Yair ben Menashe was one of the leading people who conquered lands and small cities in the Transjordan. And the Torah tells us he called these Chaviseim upon his name. He named these little cities that he conquered upon his name, Chavot Yair, the little cities and villages of Yair. And the question is, later in Deuteronomy, we learn that Yair ben Menashe didn't just capture little cities, but he conquered great swaths of lands, much more than just these little cities. And the question is, why does the Torah portion tell us this about Yair ben Menashe? And also, why does Rashi have to tell us? Rashi says, you know, that he named these cities for himself because he had no children. Many people name cities that they conquer for themselves, even if they have children. And the Rebbe, in one of his talks, says something so powerful. And no one but the Rebbe understood this better than the Rebbe, who set up a system of Chabad communities in the entire world, 4,000 Chabad rabbis in the most rural and tiny cities, far-flung over the world, inspiring and touching even 10, 20, 50 Jews, not just big communities. And the Rebbe says like this, of course, when we read in Deuteronomy that Yair ben Menashe conquered great swaths of land, it's true, not just little villages, but big cities. But where did he take his pride? Where did he get his legacy? Where was he named for? What was he remembered for? It was those little cities, those little villages that no one thought about, that no one cared about. You know, in the Mishnah of Chagiga, we learned that the big cities, that's where the king comes. Their connection to spirituality is greater. But the little rural villages, who goes to the Timbuktus? You never get to see the king. Your relationship is not as great. Same as spirituality. When you talk about little cities or little villages where people don't have that great connection to Torah, to Judaism, and when you touch those little cities, when you touch those little things, that's the legacy you leave. That's what you're named for. And that's what Rashi, in his wisdom, is trying to tell us about Yair ben Menashe. Of course, Yair ben Menashe conquered, as Deuteronomy tells us, great cities. But his legacy, what was he named for? Those little villages, rural America, far-flung Asia, Russia, Ukraine, the little cities where there's not many Jews. You're not going to build the biggest shul. You're not going to be famous. You're not going to give a sermon on Shabbos. There's going to be 500 people are going to talk about you. You're going to impact